Well-funded Eastern European cybercrime rings will steal $1 billion from the online bank accounts of consumers and businesses this year. Leading security vendors concede that it's a big cat and mouse game. Innovative criminals launch a new attack, security vendors scramble to react. I'm here to tell you it's time to change the game. It's time to stop reacting and start predicting. GuardianAnalytics FraudMAP uses account-level predictive analytics to expose fraudulent activity before money can be stolen, regardless of the attack. Over 30 financial institutions use FraudMAP, and today we're very excited to announce version 4, including our SaaS architecture. This makes leading predictive analytics affordable and accessible to any financial institution. So if you could switch to the demo. We're going to show you actual fraud attacks using real data from a real bank. The starting point's our new dashboard. This provides a quick and comprehensive view of customer activity and current risks. Red, yellow, and green is used to distinguish the riskiness of events. These two windows show you the risk level today and over the last week. These two windows show you where the risks are coming from. And this large window shows you the threat level trend over the last year. Now, these macro views make behavior and threat information easy to understand, and they help banks target their risk management efforts. But now let's look at a real fraud case. We are drilling into one of the highest risk alerts for the day. And this screen is a timeline view of one business bank account's online history, and the alert we clicked on is highlighted. Each column here represents one online banking session. And the rows show various attributes, such as the users within the business account, their online activity, both financial and non-financial, the city and country that they logged in from, their network provider, their IP address, their operating system, their browser, and so on. So it's a lot of detail, but now let's collapse that to dig into the case. This case involves a $187,000 wire fraud attempt. It uses man-in-the-browser technology, and it defeats antivirus protection, multi-factor authentication, and dual controls. So on this screen, the top row is the overall risk score for that session. As you look from left to right over time, you see that it's been green up until this series of red and yellow, the start of the fraud attack. Now, FraudMAP excels at identifying suspicious activity for each individual account that leads to fraud, while minimizing false positives. It's interesting to note in this case that the location, the provider, the IP address, and all the machine information matches previous behavior. So this indicates that the criminal has logged in through the victim's machine, a clear man-in-the-browser attack. In fact, the forensics on this case showed 3 variants of the Zeus Trojan on the victim's machine. Now, despite this, FraudMAP detects a lot of suspicious behavior. The first thing to notice is the login frequency, which is indicated by the time between logins. This account logs in at most once or twice a day, but now they have multiple logins in rapid succession. And we also notice that there's a new cookie. This is a sign that we should look at the login behavior more closely. And when we do, we see some unusual activity, including some mistyped credentials, some mischallenged questions, and so on. In fact, the Zeus malware had wiped out the victim's cookie to capture the credentials in the challenge responses, and we're seeing that here in action. Now, looking at the next session, this is our original alert. There's a lot of high-risk activity, and all the red and yellow signifies that. So let's look at this in more detail. FraudMAP, in addition to the timeline view, provides the ability to drill deeper into activities. So now we've brought up a detail window associated with this session that's been highlighted in the timeline. This is where they first set up the fraud transfer request, and it's for $99,870. FraudMAP detects that this is unusual for this account and alerts on it. After setting up the wire, they realize that dual controls are in place. So they use the account's admin privileges to set up a new user with a whopping $800,000 approval limit. This is how the criminals have defeated dual controls. Next, they set up a second wire request, this time for $98,500, and then they log out. Now, as we move to the next session on this screen, we see that the criminal logs in as the new user. Note the red alerts next to this user. They then immediately approve the wire transfer requests. Now, at this stage, money has not left the bank, and FraudMAP is alerted on the suspicious activity with ample time to proactively intervene. Something a bank may want to do now is investigate other accounts that have been attacked in the same way. So by clicking on this fraud match feature, we bring up a screen that allows us to quickly identify other high-risk sessions that have wire transfer attempts and a new user being added. And that's what we're showing here. Okay, so we've just seen one fraud case. And a bank would track this case using our case management tool, which we're bringing up now. We have stopped millions of dollars worth of fraud attempts. By focusing on individual behavior, we've been able to stop account takeover used to enable cross-channel fraud, coordinated ACH money mule attacks, and sophisticated man-in-browser techniques, as well as many others, all before the money's left the bank. Solutions that solve for only one particular style of attack or that look at generalized behavior will fail. Rules systems, transaction monitoring, page load monitoring will inevitably miss many types of fraud or will generate massive false positives. Only GuardianAnalytics, with our new SaaS architecture, will allow financial institutions to get and keep the upper hand. Thank you.